right to left. Incumbent, Representative Todd Platts. Ryan Sanders. And Josh Monighan. Todd Platts will speak first this evening, followed by Ryan Sanders, followed by Josh Monighan. They will alternate. Our candidates have not been sent these questions in advance of the event this evening.
Good evening. Wonderful to join everyone here tonight. I want to thank the library system and the YWCA for hosting this forum this evening, and for each of you coming out. This is certainly democracy at work, where you have a chance to come out and hear from three of us who share a belief in public service and a desire to give back. I want to begin my comments by first thanking those who are most responsible for us being allowed to be here, and that's our men and women in our armed forces. But for their courageous service in uniform on the front lines of democracy in Iraq and Afghanistan and elsewhere around the world today and throughout our history, this engagement here tonight would not be possible, and the freedoms we enjoy every day would not be. So may we have them in uniform and their families in your thoughts, in your prayers. I'm delighted to be here to talk about the issues. I know we're going to get to them as we get into our questions. Issues such as reducing spending in Washington, to create jobs, to replace the health care bill that was passed and replace it with real reforms that are about lowering the cost of health care. It's about changing Washington, the way Washington operates today, where bills are rammed through 3,000 pages without any opportunity to be read. Hundreds of amendments are offered but not allowed to be given a vote by the Speaker. Process that is broken today. It's certainly about keeping America safe. We'll get into those issues in greater detail in the questions, but here up front I want to tell you my approach today is the same approach I took when I first sought this office 10 years ago. It's a belief in the ideals of public service. It's a belief and an approach that goes back to the upbringing I got from my mom and dad. My mom Babs is here, my dad's watching over me. Lessons of hard work and honesty, willingness and commitment to stand up for what you believe is right. The lessons they instilled in 5 of us children are what guide me every day as your congressman, as a father, as a husband, as a citizen. It's the approach I take in my campaign. I don't believe in negative campaigning, so I'm going to talk about my positions, my approach, my actions on your behalf, and how I raise my money. I'm now the only member of the entire House of Representatives who relies solely on contributions from individual citizens, because it's always been about people, not money, and how I approach the job itself. I'm honored to represent you in Washington, but I'm blessed to live here. I come home every night to be under the same roof as my wife and children, to be a hands-on dad and husband, and also to be a hands-on representative amongst the people that I'm given the privilege to represent you. So when I'm buying gas, it's at Rutter's or Tom's, when I'm shopping at Giant, I'm coaching Little League, it's in East York, it's where you are, and so I get constant feedback. The promise I can make is I will always do my utmost to fulfill the trust that's been placed in me day in and day out. It's a trust that I take very seriously and deserves the best of my ability. Thank you.
Again, good evening. Thank you very much for having me today. As you know, my name is Ryan Sanders. I want to thank Dean Fair, the library system, Dallastown, Connie Whitmarsh, everybody who's put this together. They put a lot of effort into doing this, and there's a lot of organization involved. So it doesn't look like as much when you just come into the room and see 3 guys standing and nothing behind them, but it really is a lot. So thank you very much. I like to say the same thing that Todd does. The reason we're here today is because of our veterans. My father served in the Vietnam War. My grandfather served in World War II. I have a great-great-great-grandfather served in the Civil War, and I have family members who involved in the Revolution. Without their service, we would not be here today, and we would not be defending what we admire and love as our country with this Constitution and the United States Declaration of Independence. But we are here today to talk about Congress in the future. And I would like to, if you'll indulge me, this is politics, and talk about myself for a little bit, because my history tells you a little bit about why I'm running and where I'm going. I grew up on a small farm in New Bridgeville. My parents had about 20 acres down there. So a lot of my life and my life experiences are developed because of the rural mindset. We have cows and chickens and corn, and that's where we believe life begins. I went to Redline High School and graduated, went to Dickinson College, and graduated with a master's degree from Syracuse University in international relations. My master's thesis was on government reform, and how do you get people to follow the rules and regulations. This idea of getting people to follow the rules, having a country based on rules and laws, is one of the most important parts of what this country is about. We have a strong social contract that provides us the reason for being. And what we found in my thesis and studies across the nation is that people do not follow rules if it's mandated from on high. It's important that we have democracy and freedom of information and ideas. So when I graduated, I moved to Washington, D.C. I worked for a couple years at a place called the Republican Leadership Council. And I know you're a Democrat working for Republicans, you would have thought. But I definitely loved that experience because what it showed me is that there is a world out there of people who want to do the best for their community. And the group I worked with was a moderate organization that focused very much on the importance of bringing the big tent. That organization, unfortunately, has now closed its doors because the party, the Republican Party now has been further to the right, and they could not get the funding they needed. Why I'm running for Congress is that reason. I'm trying to bring back the strong middle, the base of the middle class, the people who are the United States of America. And with your support and with your help, I'll bring them back to the United States, to Pennsylvania, and to our community as a whole. So thank you very much.
I'm Josh Monighan. I'd just like to start out and let you guys know the most important thing to me is God, family, and our country, our way of life. I'd like to thank Ms. Fair and the library system for putting this event together. I'd like to thank you guys for all coming out here to be better informed about your decisions for November. And most of all, I'd like to thank the men and women in armed forces who have made a commitment to defend freedom and swore an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. An awakening has begun. The left-right paradigm is being shattered. The Robin Hood idea of take from the rich and give to the poor, or the phrase spread the wealth around, this seems like a fancy idea. However, whenever applied through unconstitutional tax law and devalued currency, it is still nothing less than stealing. Stealing wealth from the people is not okay. It is theft of the grandest design, generational theft. In these United States of America, we the people have inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property. However, today, in America, a common question is asked. What is happening with the value of money? Where is it going? And why do I not have as much of it anymore? What is happening with wealth in America is being taken from everywhere, private. Your money, your property, your family's assets, your retirement, your investments, your children's inheritance, and have been given to failed banks, failed insurance companies, international banks, international corporations, biopolies, and monopolies, and foreign government with no accountability, enslaving our posterity to financial bondage, to domestic and international entities. The very banks and corporations who lobby the distinguished elite through campaign contributions. This is what I call the consolidation of America. I do not advocate taking from the wealthiest individual Americans, or from sovereign individual Americans. Instead, we the people must secure liberty for ourselves and our posterity by breaking the foothold tyranny has on our nation, by first recognizing this technocracy and moving forwards, embracing our founding documents, reestablishing sovereignty, and pursuing enterprise as we embark on a new technological digital age.